in the flyer it says who we are and what we do. And first of all, I want to introduce on who we are. A few years ago, we started out as the exploration and production department at the 3 affiliated tribes, and the gathering of I've guessed personnel throughout the course of the last 3-4 years has been crucial to the development of the company. Currently, right now, we have 4 employees, which I'll introduce real quick. We just picked up our chief operating officer, who's a petroleum engineer from the Navajo Nation, Mr. Bill McCabe. Bill, just stand up for a second. And of course, myself, and then my 2 secretaries over there at the Missouri River Resource desk. We have Amber Takes the Horse, and then Pam Belgard. They keep me organized, so. And then moving forward, I want to introduce the board of directors. And for everybody's information, there's always board of directors. In our board of directors, in our resolution, we have 4 tribal members, but we also have 3 industry experts that have seats. And we felt it crucial moving forward that the industry experts be involved in decision making as we progress as a company. And later on in the talk, and the reason for that obviously is just for the fact that the reason we have the Southern Ute tribe here, okay, and people from the Native Nation Rebuilding book that you've just all received. And as for students, I hope you guys read this in the next few weeks to help you move forward. But going forward with our board of directors, as far as the experts go, we have Dr. Russell Stansoverbull. Please stand, Russell. He's a geologist from Denver, Colorado. And then we have Dr. Frank Mosley in the back, who teaches petroleum economics at Minot State College. And I want to mention another board member we used to have, who's not here now, but his name was Mr. John Kingsbury. And John has worked over 40 years in what we call the midstream arena. And John is the one who came up with our business plan, along with other groups, other people that we were involved here as part of the board. But John had a lot to do with it. I know he's not here, but I wanted to mention his name. Of course, we are televised, and we will send John a copy of this. But John has been very paramount in the last 3-4 years working with the 3 affiliated tribes. Now, going to our board members, for the gentlemen that are here, well, one so far, Mr. Ken Hall. He's the chairman of the board and council representative from North Segment. Everybody knows Ken, former coach. And of course, I think Ken, I recognize some of the kids here. I mean, we shared the elementary stage back in the day, and I think some of them will remember that as we coached in the past. But we have another gentleman, Mr. John Stone Jr. I don't think John made it to the trip. If he's here, I didn't see him, but John Stone Jr. is from Twin Buttes. And then we have Mr. Whitney Bell, who's the chief financial officer for the 3 affiliated tribes. And then, of course, Mr. Mark Fox, who's the tax director. And Mark couldn't make it today either. So those are the individuals, I guess, involved with Missouri River Resources. And then, of course, later on, we'll have our legal come up, and our attorney for the company, Mr. Carl Artman, standing right over there, from the Oneida tribe out of Wisconsin. And then we had another gentleman that was helping us in a couple projects in the past. His name is Mr. John Fedricks, and John will be continuing working with us. So for the students' sake and for the people watching, it's beneficial to you to know that the more you have, more experts you have, the better off hopefully you're going to be. And by what's been addressed in the last couple days and what's been addressed today, hopefully we continue this endeavor, understanding that learning, no matter how old you are, okay? Of course, I gave my age away, graduating in 77. I still have the ability to learn how to do this. Even though I've had 16, 17 years in the oil business, doesn't mean I can go out there and do this by myself, by no means. So what we end up here, of course, was, as everybody knows, is a huge oil play. And probably beyond anybody's thoughts, my thoughts, it's mentioned, we used to drill wells back in the 70s and 80s, and those weren't as prolific as now. And so we look at ourselves and say, this oil was always here. It's been here for how many years? Millions, 100,000s. So as we look forward, knowing in the next 40 years that obviously the oil here was really never about us, but it started with us. And so, as leaders, we have a huge responsibility to move this thing forward and to educate. And I'm I'm glad the students here, because I'm going to use the word education a lot, because that's what's important. As you can see with the Southern Ute tribe, on top of their charge, they put the people first, then the council. And you're the people. Like Pete said, I apologize, but he said 14 grandkids, it's really 7. So I know somebody said 14. 14? How many? No, it's just 7. Anyway, and that's why we're here, to create a legacy for the generations to come, to give back what was given to us, and the people that are not here anymore don't get to kind of relish the fact that now our kids can have a great education, they can have great health care, they can have a better living. The oil industry is a tough job, and learning it is one thing, but going out there and doing the work. I listened to Mr. Valdez talk about hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. Okay, I just want the kids and maybe other people to imagine getting up this morning, and you're supposed to get up at 6 o'clock and go to a rig. Now, would you have gone to the rig? Would you have got up knowing the temperature, knowing the roads, and be there on time? I teach classes at the college, and my classes start at 5 o'clock in the evening. And at 5:01, the doors are closed and locked. And if the students don't say, well, I told him, or I should have, there's a huge work ethic involved in this business. And realizing that and understanding that, it just, relates itself to other work too. The people that are at the hospital right now, the people who are in the school systems, okay, the bus driver. I mean, I don't know, I've never seen a bus driver that was late. So you have to understand those concepts as we move forward in this industry, and learning that if you want to get in this industry, okay, that you got to wake yourself up, and you got to do what's necessary to make sure that you get what you have to get done. Now, having said that, I want to give you a little history on Missouri River Resources and the fact that the things relative to what I believe and to why the people that are invited here. 3-4 years ago, when we tried to start this company, I personally went down to Ignacio, Colorado. Does that work? There we go. Okay. Sometimes if you talk too long, that's a sign. But anyway, I'm going to move on. Back to my story. I went down to Ignacio, Colorado, and I went to a gentleman named Rob Voorhees and asked for his business plan from 1992. And they went into their archives in their file system and found it for me. And about that time, that's when I had met John Kingsbury. And Rob was very gracious, and of course it was obviously a strange request. But at the same time, the thought was, with the people that we have on our board and the people that were with us then, to create some sort of a shared vision. Like all the kids, you've been on a sports team. If there's one person out there that's not really conforming to what the team wants, you got to kind of say, what are you doing? The people that are working with us have the same vision for everyone. And so that when we ask for, whether it be a business plan from Red Willow, or we go to Calgary, Alberta, and ask the gentleman to come down and do a business plan for us, that these people understand what we're trying to do. And the quest to do this is hard work. Because now what we do is we deal with people that are successful, that have multi-billion-dollar companies, that have been in the business for 40 years. So when you step into the arena, like Lance Morgan mentioned, you have to have knowledge. And knowledge is based through education. You have to have finances. You have to have all the tools that would help you move forward, rather just your heart and your will. We could all move forward and say, I can do this, but at the same time, you still have to put gas in your car. You still have to get to point A to point B somehow through financial means or through knowledge of where you're going. So after the Red Willow trip and meeting with them and understanding that they're the leader in this, we go to John Kingsbury and we talk on how we can accomplish something relative to what the Southern Utes did. And John was a very, very knowledgeable guy because he had worked with indigenous tribes in Canada. And so we sat down and we included, one meeting we had here at the casino with about 25 tribal members discussing what our mission statement should be, what our vision should be, what's relative to building an oil company, and then at the same time having the thought of saying, well, how are we going to share or contribute the revenues and the wealth back to the people. And it's still a process. So around that time, I read the book Rebuilding Native Nations, in which we had them here. We had Dr. Stephen Cornell here yesterday. I had went down to Boulder, Colorado through invite 3 weeks ago to meet with Dr. Joseph Kalt and Miriam Jorgensen, the authors. Again, we're talking about books, and we're talking about understanding there's a right way to do things, and unfortunately there's a wrong way to do things. And what I was taught in the oil business is that it's really not what you don't know that's going to hurt you. It's what you know that's wrong. And that's kind of the focus of what my point here is today is, there's a lot of ways to do things. But once you find the right way, whether it be through relationships or spending 35 years in the oil business or the trucking business or the health business, the experience will help you find the right way. So as leaders, we then have the responsibility to educate. And I'm grateful for being in the education system. As some of the students here know, I used to be the baseball coach and the football coach. And in fact, I just shook Coach Montgomery's hand, who I worked with 6 years ago as he was my assistant. And then when I left for this work, he took over as the head football coach. So we do again have a huge responsibility, whether it be to you presently, or to my grandkids, or to your kids and their kids. So by thinking about the big picture and the whole of the people, okay, we tend to alter our thinking and look at a vision that we once maybe want to see as what we picture Newtown, Mandaree, White Shield, Twin Buttes, Four Bears, Parshall, what we see in the future through this newfound wealth. The question yesterday by Lance Morgan is, well, now you got the money, what are you going to do with it? And that's a good question. So we have that responsibility. So at the same time, we realize that it's our obligation to have this sustainable wealth, but we also have to have good leadership. We have to have the people, whether it be from the tribe or from the community or from the school system. If you're a leader, you lead from the front. And I always tell, whether I told my athletes that, if you were a senior in high school and you're sitting in the locker room and you're screaming out, guys are on time and you're sitting there still getting dressed, you're supposed to be a leader, but you're telling guys to hurry up and you're sitting there, you don't have anything on yet. That's kind of the example. You don't call in at 9 o'clock and get mad at your employees for being 10 minutes late when they got there at 10 after 8. So there's a responsibility to leadership. So our responsibility as a company basically is to educate. Knowing that what the Southern Utes did, what Ho-Chunk has done, what various tribes have done out there that achieve success, and to follow that, not necessarily the same model, but the model relevant to what's written in that book, to what's written in other books, and to just grab everything you can if you want to be a business person. If you want to be a coach, read about coaches. Read what they do. The more you know, the better off you're going to be. So, Missouri River Resources was created to drill oil wells, to obtain lands, to create wealth for the tribe. Currently, we have the ability, or I guess maybe the ability is not the right word. We have the opportunity and to kind of fine-tune our ability to drill 4 wells with a company called Baker Hughes and also a company called Brigham Oil. And we're fortunate because what we're doing is we're learning from them. Like I said, I was graduating in 77, and I'm still learning. So we want to create relationships off the reservation as well as on. We just went through a 2-year, what I call, I got my 2-year college degree in mergers and acquisitions. I'm trying to buy Arrow Midstream Holdings with a company called Paradigm, which is a sponsor here, along with another company called Aux Sable and Stone Peak, who are in the audience here. I think they're sitting right over there. Just stand up, guys. I know Troy's somewhere around here. He's back there. In 2 years, give him a hand. So you create relationships off the reservation as well as on, which meaning if you go to college, you're going to meet somebody from Colorado, Texas, Wyoming, wherever, and you're going to create a relationship with them, and then you can, visit with them and to see what they do. Maybe you want to move down to California and work there. Who knows? So creating relationships, learning what you want to learn about. taking advantage of what goes on in high school and moving on to college and coming back here and then realizing one day, as an adult, you now have a responsibility for the younger kids too. So what we want to do today and for the future is to make sure that you guys have the ability to come down to the office anytime you want, and that includes the elders, the people of the three affiliated tribes, to learn about what Missouri River Resource is really focused on. You can talk to Mark Fox, Ken Hall, Whitney Bell, John Stone Jr., so that we want to communicate the fact that whatever you need to do, you need to have relationships, and they have to be successful. You have to treat people with respect. We have guys on our crew. You know, we got Crow Agency, Navajo, Oneida, Turtle Mountain. So it's not about, you know, as Mr. Valdez said, we want to hire people from here, but at the same time, we want to educate them so they can work anywhere and deal with any type of people. Okay? Native, non-native. And that's important. As growing up in Newtown, okay, as some of you know, in 1950, when Newtown was organized and brought as a town, you go look in the hallways of Newtown High School, as you all have, in the graduation of about 50-some kids, there was no natives. So here we are 50 years late, 60 years later, and now it's all natives. So in between, there was a transition and a mixture of us working together. And that's kind of the overall theme, I think, of all our summits, is the ability to work together, whether you're native or non-native. I mean, we can watch all kind of television shows and talk about issues where people of color don't get along, but in the end, if we don't teach about our kids about getting along with, you know, whether it be the people from Mexico, or the people from China, or the people from West Texas, it doesn't help us. So there's another responsibility. And what that does is then eventually gives you kind of a personality where if you want to move forward and go out and conquer the world, you have a unique ability to communicate with everyone, not based on how they look or where they're from or what their accent is. And I hope you can take that with you from this. So we do have a long day here. The weather's bad. We do want to move forward here. I don't want to speak too long, but I just wanted to comment on also the fact that we are working with other companies, Enerplus, Conoco, Helcon, Marathon, Brigham, QEP, all of them who just came off the reservation onto it, so that we create that relationship to make a better judgment on what we need to do for this oil and natural resources. So, like Bruce said, it's not all smooth, okay? If you want to get what you want, it's going to take hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. And there's a lot of people that are naysayers, and that's okay. As you move forward, whether you're 35, 15, or 55, you have to have the toughness and the ability to keep your goal in mind and never give up. And closing, I just wanted to quote a guy, former president who died 50 years ago, Mr. John F. Kennedy, who said that rather than condemn the darkness, rather than just get mad at the blackness of what's happening, just light a candle. Do something about it. Be proactive. Then you can move forward. Thank you very much.